seconds. 25 seconds.
I'm calling you Pastor
20 seconds
Adrian.
for ID, Mr. Davis. Get the ID. The show.
Okay, Esther Davis journey.
Right.
I'll announce that when I open.
Yeah, we open. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Get down. On the black. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are 5.
Top of the day to you. This is Esther Davis, and we are on an Esther Day journey this entire week on the Esther Davis Show. I have a wonderful opportunity for you because it's so exciting. So I'm going to ask you to please get a pen and paper. We're going to throw out a couple of notes. And I want you to, I know you're going to ask me immediately, why do I have these gold shoes on the set? Well, they are a gift to go with a new outfit that I have. And I haven't bought the new outfit yet, but I do have a magical guest. Her name is Pastor Adrian Charles. Welcome to the Esther Davis Show. Welcome to our journey. Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here with you today, Miss Davis. As I say, the fox as always.
Well, I have adopted, and it's been adopted, the silver fox. I don't know what that is exactly, but my hair is silver, so I'll take it. I'll claim it.
Well,
it's okay.
Well, one thing I can appreciate about you, Miss Davis, is that she can work any heel and any color.
Well, yeah, okay. We got so much to talk about.
Oh,
I'm so
yes.
excited about you being here.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you on today, and I am ready.
You are ready?
Yes.
Well, tell me this first. What did you preach about Sunday?
Oh, we talked about I survived the attack, and we know right now a lot of us are under attack.
So that was the title of the sermon.
That was the title.
I have to tell you about this magnificent woman. She is a pastor of a church in a well-defined area in, let's say, Texas, South Fork.
Haslett, Texas.
Haslett, Texas.
Yes.
But I mentioned South Fork because that's the J.R. Ewing area. Most of us will remember the movie or the television series that used to come on. Mm-hmm. So that area is called South Fork. And then you have a lot of other famous people that have lived out there. But your church and your location is Haslett.
Yes, ma'am.
A little Texas town in North Texas.
A little Texas town. Haslett is not that big, but it's quite a few people there, and it is yet growing.
It is
yeah. So I'm gonna tell. We need some more African Americans out that way to bring some diversity. Come to Haslett, Texas. Yes.
What is the largest city next to Haslett?
I would say probably would be South Lake.
And you got South Lake.
Because you got South Lake, you got Trophy Club.
You have Prosper.
No, not that way.
Not that way. Okay.
No, but it's South Lake, Trophy Club, and Roanoke.
Okay, now I know where you are.
Yes.
Roanoke is where the Lake Ray Hubbard is.
No, you're talking across the water.
Oh yeah, and we got a lot of water down here.
It's 75 out that way.
Really?
Yeah, but we're talking about north of Fort Worth.
Okay.
Way north.
Okay. Yes. I've got so many things to start with you on. I guess one of the things I'm going to start with is a couple of months ago, your picture was on the cover of the Elite News.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. How did that happen? I have never had my picture, on the cover of the Elite News.
Well,
great paper. It's Elite News here in Dallas, Texas. So why were you there? What were you talking about?
I was blessed to be on the front cover of Elite News with the owner, Mr. Darrell Blair.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also was on there twice with the Black congressman.
Which one?
That was running that won.
Oh, you're talking about Jasmine Crockett.
That was on the front page. So I was blessed to be on the bottom page with her. And then I remember getting a phone call from this fox, Esther Davis, saying, guess where I seen your face at?
Well, we follow the news in all over North Texas. And
yes.
You were news that week because your picture was on the cover, and because we have a lot of elections going on down here. There are supporters of this candidate and that candidate. This is what's happening into our world today.
Mhm.
But I was just curious. I didn't know. Did I know you then? I didn't really know you then.
I had just got to know you
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
tell you, ever since I've been knowing you, a lot of exciting things have been revolving
Good.
around you.
Good.
And I am loving being a part of it.
We're loving having you. But
Yes.
I guess I'm noticing a lot of females, black, white, and etc.
Mhm.
in the ministry. And you are in your own church.
Yes, and
that
I
you
tell
started.
you, it's hard for us ladies. But I keep telling these men this: if a woman can birth Jesus, carry Jesus, why
Right.
can't a woman preach Jesus?
And you are in demand.
We really are. Do you not realize, Miss Davis, that women make up 80% of the church?
Oh yeah, I'm well aware of that. I'm a Baptist.
There's more women in
Yeah.
church there than there are males.
But so what kind of kickback are you getting as a pastor of a church in North Texas? And
Oh,
predominantly, I have to add, what is your ratio of black and white? Not that that matters.
well, out there in Haslett, Texas, the African American race is very, very low.
Okay.
And that's why I'm
Okay.
stating, come out that way, move out, purchase homes, let them know that we are alive and well
In North Texas.
in Haslett, Texas.
HASLET.
T.
Do it.
Yes, yes.
Ooh.
And so a lot of the kickback that we female pastors are getting is just that, well, a woman is not supposed to be preaching. A woman's not supposed to have authority over a man. You know, I'm like this. I'm not a man. I'm a woman, proud to be it. Don't want to wear the pants. I love my dress. Can I just preach the word? And we all want to see Jesus.
Yeah, let's just preach. the
Yes.
word. And what difference does it make? What are some of the answers that people are giving you?
Well, you know,
I mean, do they explain why you should not be in the pulpit? Do they? How much do you think you are accepted?
well, I'm gonna tell you, really, for women pastors, we are really accepted on a small scale, and I really hate to say it, but we carry the word just as well as the men. We are just not men, and we understand God's order that God created male first, and then the female.
Right, right.
And the headship is the man. And so I don't have a problem submitting to a man. And you know, if I had a husband, when I go home, I'm not the pastor, he would be my husband. So, you know, we just got to understand our place and order, but there's neither male nor female. We should be able to minister the word to whatever soul that needs it, and we all need it.
Yeah. We all need it. But your personality is a little different.
Okay.
I mean, that's just me from observation. I've had lunch with you. You've gone to some of the roundtable meetings.
Yes.
All of these things have been going on with you and your involvement. And you have children at home.
Yes. You know why it's different, Miss Davis?
Why?
It's because I know how to stay in my lane, wear my own shoes, and be happy in doing it. See,
Okay.
I'm not confused about who I am. And
that
so-
that does make a difference.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have to understand who we are, and I understand how valuable I am. And so I can go support a man of God, enjoy him, and yet leave out that service knowing that I'm still valuable. You did a wonderful job, and there's no competition.
Well, I want to appreciate the fact that you've been on my show several times.
Yes.
And one of the things that I remember is that we had you on with several bishops.
Oh, yes.
That went so well. I was just so proud of the whole thing.
Yes, talking about who is your neighbor.
That's right.
And a lot of times we don't know who our neighbors are, and they're right there in our next door, in our communities, our neighborhood. And you know, I just got to ask the listeners, what are we doing about our neighbors?
Yeah. Do you know your neighbor?
Do you know them? What are we doing about them? Are we showing love? Are we communicating with our neighbors?
No, and no.
And we got to do better. Because
Well,
you're my neighbor.
That's right. Is that one of the messages you're now carrying to the rest of your neighbors in your community?
I am not right now. I'm carrying the message is we can survive the attacks, because I'm just here to tell you, Miss Davis, America is under attack. Marriages are under attack. You know, our jobs is under attack. Our finances is under attack. Our mind is even under attack.
Yeah, well, where do we start? I mean, where do we start with all of these ills under this big topic?
You know,
America. And the topic is America.
yes.
So where do we actually start?
Well, first of all, we start with what are you doing in your community, in your city, in your state? What are you doing to make a difference and to change things? Because we all can take a part, just like voting. Your voting is important. You got to get out and vote. Why are we going to complain about what they're doing, the politicians, the laws and so forth, but then we don't go put our input in by voting? We got to vote. That's the only way we're going to change things.
Pastor Charles, what is the reason? I mean, give me your definition of apathy, why people don't vote.
A lot of folks don't vote because they feel as if it doesn't matter. They've rigged it. They're going to pick who they want to pick. Yes. And so my thing is this, your vote does matter. Even though if you vote and you still, your person that you voted for do not win, the point is that you still had a say in the matter and you can feel good about it.
Yeah, but we live in this democracy. Things are different over here.
But they fought for us to vote.
Well, we fought for us to
and
vote.
Because we fought, we need to take advantage of our opportunity. Why pass up our opportunity? Why sit down on it? Martin Luther King said, I got a dream. They paved the way for us. And so now that they're gone, we're coming up on the scene, and it's for us to continue the legacy.
Now, is that part of your ministry at your church?
To continue
to talk about voting? Because a lot of pastors won't talk about voting.
Oh, yes. I talk about voting, went to vote.
You voted already?
I have voted.
Have you voted already?
Voting.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, this stuff is getting really bad and treacherous. And so that's why I made it an opportunity when early voting opened is to go out there and vote. It's serious, guys. We got to vote.
Okay. We got to vote. We got to vote. We're talking about voting. My guest is Reverend Adrienne Charles, who has a church not in her standard neighborhood, but in a totally different neighborhood, which is, I still call it Suffolk. She calls it Hazlitt.
Yes.
You know what? That town didn't even exist a couple of months ago. It's a couple of years ago. How old is Hazlitt?
You know what?
Hazlitt,
when I moved to Hazlitt back in 2015, 16. And when we moved there, we were like the only blacks on the street.
Wow. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. Got to pay a little bit. There's Hazlitt right there. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'll be back with my very, very special guest, Pastor Adrienne Charles. Don't go away. You're watching Ester Davis. Hey, what is it? For today again is Ester Davis. You're watching the Ester Davis Journey Show. One of the reasons my staff and I decided to call it a journey because we have been on a journey for almost 30 years. And people know my story, but basically I started on public assets for the city of Dallas and then moved into these other arenas. And if you have an opportunity or if you think you would be a fantastic talk show host about your city, your state, your country, your job, your children even, then I invite you to give us a call. I'm easy to find, by the way. The shoes are on because do I have a new outfit? Yeah, you're going to help me with the new outfit, but I have a pair of shoes already.
You got to get one to wear these gold slippers, Ester Davis.
Gold slippers.
As I tell you, y'all, she really encouraged me to step as a woman because I call her the fox. I mean, you just look incredible. And I
My,
tell you,
my
God's
grandson
hand
would
is
just
on
look,
you.
my grandsons would just fall out if he heard that.
Oh, well, God's hand is
Well,
on you.
I'll tell him that. I'll tell him
Yes.
that. Children, how do you get all of this done, Pastor Charles?
Well, I do have two children, and one thing I will say, Brandon and Chloe are incredible. They're very supportive.
And she's right about that. I have met these children. My gosh,
Yes, very supportive. And
very articulate.
yes, and very voiceful.
Your son is always explaining his latest tour to me.
Okay.
What are we doing? What is your definition of raising good children in 2022? Or are we raising the next generation of hoodlums?
Well, I will say, they're saying now this is the millennium world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'd say we're going to stick to the basic. We're going to stick to the old fashioned way. We need to continue to train these kids, as the word told us, to train up a child in the way he should go. And when he's old, he will not depart. The problem is, we think because we train them that that's going to cover them. But if you really go back and study that verse,
Mm-hmm.
there was an opening left for what? Trouble with these kids.
And discipline.
And discipline. And this is where we as parents got to step in to spend time, and I mean quality time, with our children and really minister to our heart, because there is a real enemy that's trying to devour our children, which is the next generation. Look at the black girls missing. None of our girls should be missing if our mothers were in place as they needed to be. And this is no attack on mothers, because sometimes we can be motherly and do all that we know to do. And sometimes these kids go astray. That's why you got to know who your child talking to, who they on a computer with, who they hanging out with at school, who they cutting class with.
Yes.
So, I mean, we got to get nosy with our children.
What Dr. Pastor Charles is referring to, I think we're almost a year old now. We started a program called Missing Black Girls. That doesn't mean that we don't care about the other girls. We care about all of the girls, but we live in Texas, and Texas has a different kind of a situation. We have immigrants that are coming to our shores, but we also have a heavy trafficking it's process that takes place all over the state of Texas and some of the other border cities. So in order to respond to that, we actually started doing something on human trafficking. But when you go into the FBI report, and it says 100,000 Black girls. It breaks it down by ethnicities. 100,000 Black girls are missing in 2020. Well, I just did not believe that statistic. I thought that was just a very absurd. I just could not believe that.
And I'm going to tell you something, Miss Davis, what they're doing to our daughters, your granddaughters, is that they're taking and abducting our girls, and then they're selling their body parts.
The body parts and selling our girls are something we have talked about with the authorities. But here's the focus. We are not paying attention to the ills that our daughters are falling into. We don't report our girls. We don't even report our girls missing. Exactly. I could not believe that until I started the investigation. I wrote an article on it. And then when I did that, oh my gosh, the floodgates opened. It was like, well, my daughter has been missing for 4 months. Now I really don't know exactly what to say. Okay, if she's missing, what did you do to try to find her? But the first answer was, she says, this one lady, she says specifically, I thought she was with her father.
Oh, that was too much time to think.
And that didn't compute very well. So we're talking about missing Black girls, but it does not, again, negate the fact that we are concerned about all of the girls. But we have to pay attention to our girls.
Let me share this with you real quick, if I may, Miss Davis, is that a lot of people don't know, but the few that do know me know that I have a total of 10 kids.
Oh.
And I have 7 girls and 3 boys. And so you can just imagine how I was pulled in different directions. But one thing I tried to keep a handle on is, where my daughter, why she not home? Calling her teacher, where you should have been here. And my girls used to say, Mama, I mean, really, we can't breathe. You don't need to breathe. You need to be caught up on education. You don't need to breathe. You need to be at home.
So they were comparing your standards at home to their friends and their
Yes,
standards.
you know, and so it's sad to say in 2022, but you got to almost smother these children to keep them out of trouble. All of my kids are grown, 8 of them, except the last 2.
You look good.
And I thank God for that. But you know what? Let me tell you, y'all see the black, but I know I got about 100 strings of gray. And I tell you, these girls, but one thing I can tell you, out of those 8 children, I have not went to the jailhouse and got one of them out.
Right. How did you do that?
The Lord, because I should be just Betsy Boosie crazy. But I kept myself, I didn't always make good choices, but I learned from experience.
Right.
And one thing I appreciated is that I grew up around a lot of older people. And they taught me you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because there was a lot of times I wanted to throw them girls. But thanks be unto the Lord, we got through it. And, you know, they finished school and they made some wrong choices too that I even feel like it was.
But that's all part of life.
Yes.
My guest is Pastor Adrian Charles from Haslett, Texas. And she has children, grown children. And we're talking about pastors that are female. We're talking about missing Black girls. And we are talking about voting before we run out of time.
Yes.
You voted. I have voted. Now the question is, have you voted in your respective cities?
Yes.
That is the important thing. And then we talked about why we don't vote.
Yeah, and then we got the criminals that say, well, I done been to prison, that I can't vote, but they've changed the law even on that.
Yes. Oh, I'm so happy you brought that up.
Yes.
I am so happy you brought that up because we have made a lot of changes in Texas. And if Texas can make changes, the rest of the country can make those changes.
Yes.
So now some of the felons can vote.
Yes, and that's based upon if they have not been in trouble, they have finished out their probation period.
Okay.
You know, they've kept themselves clean, have paid their fees and so forth. Then they're able to go and vote. And I am so excited about that because one thing about society is that it's like they throw the cuffs on you and don't forgive you. And I was so glad when they passed that law because even our felonies that go to jail, mess up, make the wrong choice, they yet deserve to vote too because they live here in America.
I have not done a lot of research on it, but I'm going to ask you to come back and let's talk about that because certain segments don't have that law yet. And I haven't looked in on it. So you're telling me that some felons can vote. Are they in jail or out of jail?
No, if you're out of jail as a felon and you
out of jail, okay.
Yes,
okay.
And you have completed all the necessary paperwork that you were on, whether it was probation, you was on an ankle monitor, whatever the case may be, your fees paid up, you are clean, you can go out and vote. And see, a lot of felons don't know that. They just get out with a mindset they can't vote. You can vote.
So have you ever had a prison ministry with all of your other ministries?
You know, I did do a prison ministry, but it was a small little time of it. And, you know, my heart goes out to the prisons because we got a lot of guys in there that said I was with the wrong person at the wrong time.
Okay.
Is why I ended up where I'm at. And see, that's a lot of times that's what go on with our children. They with the
wrong company.
Yes, at the wrong time.
Yes. Yeah. Crime is, I don't think crime is as polarized as mainstream media talks about. I live in a community, I work in a community, and in that community, I hear a lot of different things. I am going to talk to you about how do we get people to get back into going to church before we run out of time, because we don't have people taking their children to church. We have people taking them to the football game on Sundays. They go to the basketball games. Nothing wrong with that. Don't have a problem with that. But how do we encourage? Because they're going to need that Christian education.
Yes. And first of all, let's just talk about, you know, during this time of COVID, it really was an attack on the church. We don't see it that way, but it was a spiritual attack
on the church.
On the church, because when COVID hit, the church is shut down.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was, there is a separation between church and state.
Some of the churches shut down.
And so
I know one or two that did not shut
Okay,
down.
one or
Yeah,
two
well, I
that
mean, one or
didn't.
two, not very many.
And the sad part is with the shutdown, we've had a lot of pastors that have walked away, shut down churches,
Wow.
no longer is pastoring. And then, you know, we got a lot of TV ministry, a lot of podcasts, and nothing is wrong with that. But now the word of God tells us to go and assemble ourselves together into the house of God. The church is within us, but we yet need to go and assemble ourselves. Why? Because we draw strength one from another. Why? Because we must mingle. If we notice Jesus' message, he went around saying, repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand. But when he went about saying that, did you notice that he went here and here and here amongst the people, the Pharisees, that said he was just amongst everybody preaching the same message. He never deviated from that. And so we should not deviate from leaving the house of God. Let's get back to church. Let's get back in there. Let's show the world that we yet stand. I don't like the word Christians, but we yet stand as believers.
Yes, believers.
And that we can make a change and a difference. And, you know, one thing about the Lord, he made us a voice, the believers. Our children need to get back in church. They need children church. They need Bible study. They need Sunday school, because I'm sure, Miss Davis, you and me, that's where we got our foundation at, was at Sunday school.
Well, we went to church.
And Bible study.
We went to,
yes.
And BTU.
Oh, and YPWW.
And YWP. What?
Yes.
YPWW?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
The young people willing workers.
My guest is the pastor, Adrienne Charles. We're talking about her world with ministers, female ministers in them. I've got to take a little bit of a break. I'll be right back, and we will end this session with Pastor Adrienne Charles from Haslett, Texas. I'll be back. Don't go away. Wow. Watching the Esther Davis show, the Esther Davis Journey. We're talking to Pastor Adrienne Charles here in Haslett, Texas. And we're talking about an array of subjects. But the most important ones is, I guess, children that should be back in church. What are we doing with our economy? They have to have a faith-based sense as they continue to grow up. Well, how do you want to wrap up? What do you want us to do? And are you coming back on my show? And the gold shoes, I got to find an outfit. So for you personal shoppers out there, give me a call.
Well, one thing I want to just say, you are an extraordinary woman, Miss Davis.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And it's a pleasure to be here on this show and to just share this opportunity.
Thank you
and
so
this
very
spot
kindly.
with you. And her show title is Journey.
Journey, yeah.
And I tell you, we are
Yeah.
on a journey.
Yeah.
And just looking out there at the listeners, you are on a journey as well. I just want to wrap this up saying that our kids are important. They're our next generation.
Yes.
We have to continue to work with them. And I know a lot of our children have gotten very rebellious and defiant and disrespectful. And a lot of time the older mothers don't want to deal with it. But, you know, I came up in a time to where the mothers just wouldn't move off their posts. And so as I
That's true.
look at
That's
this
true.
camera to ask the older mothers to get back on your posts, we need our children. They're the next generation. They're the millennium. And if we do not install what they need, the morals, if we do not install the word of God in them and help them get the fear of God in them, our world is yet going to continue to be in trouble.
Yes.
We need our children, and the church need the kids in there, because if you got a church with no children and no youth, that church dead.
It's something wrong with that church.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
And so we got to make sure as pastors, men and women pastors, that we keep children in our church. The youth, it helps the church grow. And as the word of God said, one plant, one water, but it's going to be God that gives the increase. And so I do know with this show on Today Journey that God is going to give you the increase, Miss Davis.
Thank you so much for coming on, Reverend Charles. You know what? I have a special guest coming up for the second half of the Esther Davis journey. So you don't want to go away. This is awesome. His name is Terry Allen. Terry Allen and I sincerely do have a journey. And you really are the greatest audience in the world. We're going to end the show right now. Thank you. I'll see you next time. It's Esther Davis on the Esther Davis journey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Esther Davis back with the Esther Davis. And we're on a journey here. The reason we're on this journey is because I have been in this business for 30 years and I have old friends, new friends, veteran friends, friends forever. I have made friends forever over the years. Now, this next gentleman and I are real friends. We started a program. Oh my gosh, we've had the Doty Awards, that was Design of the Year. We had the Miss Dallas pageants, And then all of a sudden, Earl Graves comes to town with the Black Enterprise Conference.
Yes, me.
And now I'm overwhelmed. I've got too much going on and I cannot handle this by myself. So I call on
It's good
Terry
to-
Allen, and the rest is history. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I remember that.
You remember
Black
that?
Enterprise at Entrepreneur Conference.
Yep. And they were here in Dallas.
Yeah.
Earl was on a board member on American Airlines. And we got into his office and he let us do the red carpet.
Yes, man. We had everybody on that red carpet. I remember that's where I met Deborah Mars. Now
Okay. Deborah Mars.
she's become a client and a friend.
Martin, does he need to put his, are you hearing him okay? Okay.
Okay, we good?
We're good.
All right.
But there were people, we met all kind of people. We met, you interviewed the General Motors people.
Oh, we interviewed General Motors. We interviewed all the people in the up and coming entrepreneurs of hip hop, the new millionaires, the new billionaires. It was a lot of small business owners who traveled from all over
Yep.
the country just
Yep.
to come there to connect. And I think there was what we came up with that time was about $6 billion worth of business enterprise going through that
Wow.
to that hotel that time.
Yeah, that was the, and they consumed the entire backside of the hotel at that time.
Yeah,
That
it was
just
great.
the Anatole Hotel here in Dallas, Texas. But we had the conference here 3 years. All 3 years we were running around
Oh, yeah.
because I remember hiring something like 8 camera guys.
Oh yeah, it was busy. It was busy. It was great to see excellence in Black.
Yeah, it was.
And it's great to
It was.
see all the things I talk about. You know, I run the business center, so I was taking
You were running the business center then.
right. Man, I was taking people out of extraordinarily difficult places and turn them into business owners.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
so,
you had a full house.
yeah, we spawned. We brought in 36 of our business owners in there, and 3 of them went on for national business deals. One became a delivery agent and
You had a mail, some
venture.
guy with the mail service.
Yeah. He became a delivery agent for UPS. Another lady became a vendor for Michelle Hoskins and her serve.
Yeah. And was Chef Sandra still with you at that time?
Yep. Michelle Cassandra had developed her new Good Eats line there. So it was a great connection making all the businesses happen. I thought it was really good because at that time, you know, our business owners were not Harvard graduates or Wharton graduates.
You were training them.
Yeah, we were taking people out of battered women's shelters. We were taking people who were considered fallen citizens, veterans that are displaced from the system.
Right.
We would turn them into business owners. And so over that 3-year period, we end up having those business owners generate close to $12 million for themselves.
$12 million?
Yeah, one person signed a $250,000 deal right there at the conference.
I remember one of my greatest success stories out of the was a lady that Mary Kay Cosmetics
Mhm.
was one of my sponsors. Mary Kay was one of my sponsors at the time, and they had this legacy group. They call it legacy group, the Black females
Right.
that were in Mary Kay. And supposedly the story goes that there was a prostitute that's one of the churches was putting her in a new line. It was a Potter's house. And she ended up being a Mary Kay consultant.
Oh, wow.
Within a year, she was driving a Mary Kay pink Cadillac. And that group still comes to Dallas. The conventions are still here.
Well,
And we still meet with them.
it's the miracle of proximity.
Yeah.
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 You
Proximity.
know, we had one lady who had spent 3 months working at Waffle House, and then she had a baby and she's on welfare, and then she had spent 2 months as a housekeeper, and she had another child. She was a member of our business class.
Mm.
And she fell in love with Anatole. And so she ended up being hired by them.
By the Anatole?
Yeah, for the destination touring package. She went from being a welfare recipient to making $70,000 a year. And that's in 2004.
Yeah,
okay?
we are talking 2004,
To 2008.
going into the Obama days.
Yeah.
Because I remember
We ushered him in.
we ushered, that's good. We ushered it. And we actually did because then I went on PAX and you went another direction.
Right.
And here we are again.
Right. And it was interesting because she was the poster child for the destination touring program at the Anatole, because she said, I can't believe I come from making pancakes in my kitchen to putting together $50,000 touring deals for organizations. I said, well, you know, he says, she told me, you told me anything's possible. I said, I meant that. I meant that.
You can do it. Stay in the right circles. Keep working. So, okay, let's go from 2008. Let's go through the Obama days and your resume. Give me just a gist of your resume from like 2010 to 2020. Because you had all of these jobs. Come on,
Well, you
Terry.
know,
I remember some of them.
you remember the other red carpet that you forgot about doing City Men Cook. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that's where we had
everybody
mayors
was-
and
football
business
players,
owners, football
and
players.
business
Everybody's
owners,
bringing
yeah.
their best meals to the
You
table.
had commissioners there. You had mayors
Yeah.
and commissioners.
So everybody, it's a who's who of who has cooked. Not only as just regular, there were regular people that cooked, the
Yeah.
barbers, the
Yeah.
truck drivers, the business owners. And we were able to, starting out in 1999 as Real Men Cook, we later morphed to City Men Cook, but we've been able to donate and give $160,000
Wow.
out to charities. And because,
Wow.
we focus on nonprofits that don't have a window, they're little grassroots.
All right. They don't
So-
have a platform.
Yeah, mothers opposing bullying with Miss Texas, Belinda Ramsey. And so we had a lot of nonprofits that we moved there. And at that point, moving into the current times, we start working on, and as you know, that whole red carpet and that experience with Black Enterprise spawned our events as the CEO.
Now we got really busy with the City Men Cook. Yeah, City Men Cook. And you've had, gosh, it was the fire marshal came one year.
Oh, yeah.
And the fire marshal came to tell you that you had too many people
Coming in, right.
at the at the place.
Right. We were at the Food and
Gillis.
Fiber. Food and Fiber.
What are you at Gillies?
Yes.
So the fire marshal was so intrigued with what was going on and the food array of food that was in the place that you just start feeding him and he stayed. Is that what happened?
The whole team started asking for tickets every year. They said, can we get tickets? And they would call me 4 months in advance and say, you haven't got your permits yet, and we need our tickets. So it's like,
Terry Allen.
so I
Real
went
Men Cook.
from someone, and actually that was not an issue of someone who we rejected that didn't meet the quality of what we were trying to do. Called the health department.
So that-
So they came out and they
They
became
called
our
the
best
health
friends.
department.
Yeah, they came out and became my best friends for the next 10 years. And so we're in our 25th year of
Wow.
City Men Cook. And it's been an amazing, fun-filled food festival for Father's Day. Try to say that. Yeah, it's been an amazing, fun-filled food day for Father's Day. And we have gone from a who's who of tasters and a who's who of cooks, but
Well,
we
now
still...
you're to City Men Cook and you have expanded out to, books, sauces,
Oh, yeah, we got...
major sponsors. I mean, I have some of your sauces.
Oh yeah, our hot sauce. It's Big Mama's hot sauce, and that's part
Big
of the
Mama's hot
yeah, it's
sauce.
part of the column. Big Mama speaks, the column that I write, and one of the things that drove everything I've been able to accomplish was something that Big Mama told me. That was my first column I wrote. It says, "You can't think big when little got you," and it was talking about how she said she had set me up for greatness, and that I had to accept that journey, my spiritual assignment.
Well, you fulfilled that assignment.
Yeah, I kind of didn't
Your
know.
mama knows that.
Yeah, I
now.
didn't know what she was talking about then, but it all came true that my assignment and my gifts were set up by her.
We're going to take a break. I'm with Terry Allen, the great Terry Allen. Everybody knows him in this region. We're going to be right back. Got to talk about City Men Cook. We got to talk about the development he's involved in. It's Terry Allen on the Ester Davis Show. I'll be right back.
All right.
You're a friend of mine, many years down the road of the journey with Esther Davis. Terry Allen is his name. But what we need to, let's talk about voting. Give me 5 voter challenges. Get out the vote. What is this?
Give me 5 is just saying that what's the most important thing. And when I think I said this once before, that the children of Emmett Till haven't talked to the children of George Floyd. Okay?
Oh my God.
We need to have a cross-generational conversation, and we need to do what we did with the Birmingham boycott that my grandmother talked to me about, and what we did during our civil rights movement. We just got out the vote. It is already a fact that the black vote decides who's the winner.
Yes.
Period.
Woo.
We should have our own party, but that's another story, another show. But give me 5 is saying to call up 5 people that you
Right.
know.
Right.
Pick a date that you're going to go vote. Ask them to join you. And then ask those 5 to bring 5 more. And then y'all go and join, and you magnify that to 250 votes in one day. And then I just did that just Thursday. We took 5 people. I ended up getting 280 people to show up. But what I got was some people said my vote don't count. And I remind them that when I ran for office for a national organization, I won by 1 vote. What if he had stayed at home?
Yeah.
I won by 1 vote.
But you've had a couple in national office.
Right. And so we just did. I took 5, asked 5 people. We ended up having 280 people Friday voting early, and we got over that myth that the votes don't matter; they do count. And then we celebrated. We asked people to celebrate it and use the hashtag #GiveMe5 to let you know that's out there. Because right now, it's not about talking points.
No.
It's about turnout, because it's a vicious battle.
You're right. It's about turnout, and it's about creativity, because what I'm seeing this time, I see a lot of people being very, very creative.
Oh yeah.
About getting the vote out. We started dancing with Sandra Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
The people that don't have any opponents, we put a couple of them together, go to these events, start dancing, and because I love the dance, so we started putting them, and we put Dancing Democrats.
Dancing Democrats, that's good.
Let's dance it. Let's get this done. Let's make this move.
Well, I think it's about turnout. It's about show up.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the most amazing activity amongst our young people. They are social media masters. They do a lot of protests, a lot of visible stuff, but they need to turn all that activity into a vote.
Okay.
And so we're asking them to take that activity, that energy where you're making corporations responsible and accountable for a true equity, but also vote too. You know, they need to know the power of voting. If we want the democracy to look like us, we got to vote. I'm reminded of something that Barbara Jordan said to everybody during the impeachment hearing. Yeah. She said that people were asking, why are you there? Why are you making a judgment? She says, I may not have been part of the Constitution's we the people at the time it was written, but through amendment, correction, and laws, I am we the people.
Yes, we are we the people.
Yeah, we need to convince everyone, the young people, the older people, that we are we the people, and that vote has more power than we have. We've proven over decades that the black vote decides the winner. So now we need to exercise that and make sure.
You got to repeat that, Terry. The black vote decides the winner.
Yes, we are the top over voting category. We vote.
And that's across the country. That's not just here.
That's for
Texas.
years.
I know it's not in Texas.
Yeah.
But I see on this card, United Methodist Men. What do they have to do? Are they part of your partnership with this?
Well, the United Methodist Men at St. Luke Community United Methodist Church has decided to adopt the #GiveMe5 campaign. Just this Sunday, under Pastor Richard Butler, we all drove people to the polls right after church.
So we still do that.
Yeah, and souls to the polls.
Souls to the polls. Souls to the polls.
So
that was genius. Whoever started that was just
get the souls to the polls. Yeah. And so Texas has the largest voter restriction policies in the country. Who can vote by mail ballot? Who can? Some of the polls in some of our areas are closed down. But I tell people what Big Mama said to me. She says, make a way out of no way. And they voted during Jim Crow. And they voted during lynching.
They paid that $2 poll tax.
The poll tax, lynching. But we don't even have that. And we don't even have the pandemic. Although COVID-19 is still out there, we have covenants to protect us and vaccines. But we don't have the challenges that they had. If they can vote during Jim Crow, we can vote right now.
But you're a businessman. You start things. You make things happen. Why are you talking about voting?
Because
I'm just curious.
Because I'm a component. My specialty is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And diversity means I see you, inclusion means I hear you, but equity means I make you as equal as me. And that equity is missing because there are so. Just think of the power of 40 acres and a mule. If we still kept those and were able to get, so we're worth about $2.8 million in the early 70s. So it was telling what it's worth right now. But we didn't get those 40 acres and a mule. We eroded the system. So in order for as a businessman to grow and create economic wealth and wealth building up, and people who look like me, the legal infrastructure of racism has to be dismantled. One way you can dismantle is putting people in office who believe in fairness, equity, and parity.
Well, I've been wanting to ask you this question a long time, so I'll take the opportunity to ask it now. And you really don't have to give me an answer. And I won't tell anybody. Why'd you leave FedEx? You were an executive at FedEx.
Can't talk about
Yeah, well, I
that.
mean, it's just sort of curious because you know what people say. Oh, you left that good job?
Yeah, but good government jobs, my grandmother used to say when we were in college. And
You worked at FedEx,
I told her I
one
was
of the
gonna
major
start.
corporations, and you leave.
Yeah. I told her I was going to start my own business. The first thing she said is, "Oh, no. You need a good education, a good government job." And that was when I left college.
This is Big Mama.
Yeah, Big
Okay,
Mama.
okay.
And then when she said, the reason you becoming an entrepreneur, black people ain't going to come to you and they're going to burn you. And white people will never do business with you. And that's her era. That was her window.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally opened the business up and she saw that the forward to our book was written by President Obama at the time, she kind of flipped that script and says, I guess everything is possible. I said, well, these things are only possible because you taught them to me. So I spent a lot of my time as an entrepreneur, only a very small time, working in corporate America. And I remember sharing with you, you asked me, why was I going to work at the hotel? I said, because I am a meeting planner. I'm a PR person. I need to know how to turn around a 5,000 member conference. And I said, I'm going to be here for 1 year. I'm going to learn how to set up meetings, plans, how to turn rooms, and all the logistics of it. And I was there exactly 1 year, 1 day.
1 day. But then you have had some programs I was in love with. Sister CEO. What's the other one?
We have Sister CEO. Then we have the City Ben Cook, which is a fundraiser.
Right. Okay.
And then we have the small business camp for beg, borrow, deal. You know, you bring your deals to the table, and we put you with people who have the money to finance you instead of being rejected by banks or other venture capitalists. We bring them to the table. We bring the banks
10 years
to the
ago,
table.
you were putting together women, and they were in business, and they were sister CEOs across the country.
Yeah, Sister CEO. It's about $50 million worth of women in the room at the same time.
$50 million?
Yeah. Remember, we brought all those women together so they could talk to emerging women businesses so women could see the exact, you got to see, in order to be a business owner, you got to see a business owner. In order for women to move forward and control their destiny, you have to see women who knows how to do that. And one of the biggest challenges, joys I had with that was how much they endorsed the fact that you got to have a plan, a business plan.
Oh, but you did the business plan.
And they also said the women who are worth millions and accomplished so much also said that a lot of the financial institutions rejected their loan requests until they developed relationships.
But hasn't that sort of turned itself around? Have they dismissed or taken out the business plan per se, the way we remember it today?
Oh, no, that is most important. I think the real problem now is that brick and mortars need to learn how to pivot. We're not going to go back to the old normal. We're going to not have a new normal. We need to get to a better normal. And a lot of that normal is artificial intelligence, it's digital pivoting. So no one can afford to not be digitally connected, even if you have a brick and mortar.
He's Terry Allen. He's going to come right back. I got to take a break. We're going to pick his brain about women going into business. And he's got one more card here I need to talk about. I'm Ester Davis. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Don't get me started. I run all over the place.
Esther Davis Journey. I'm here on a true journey with one of my oldest friends in this business. And we've never had a fight. We haven't had an argument. He might disappear for a couple of months, and I don't exactly know where he is, but he's Terry Allen. Now, we were talking about
securing the bag.
Yeah.
I'm making cheddar, dropping dollars. That's what.
But you never moved.
No, never go anywhere.
Now, you've been on these boards.
Mhm.
What am I forgetting here? There was a board.
The Graduate School of Management, Entertainment, and Sports Board for the University of Dallas.
That's it.
And we did a lot of things on there, working with our sports and entertainment industry to make sure that young people of color get a seat at the table. I was on the National Association of Black Journalists Board of Directors. I'm currently the chair of the National Association of Black Journalists Media-Related People. Those are people in PR and marketing.
But you have a PR,
and public affairs.
You have a PR team coming to Dallas. Really.
Yeah, I met some great people there. As a matter of fact, some of the partners that are here in Dallas. We were in Vegas just recently, and they're coming in and out of here and there with you guys. So it's about pivoting and understanding the ownership and the wealth and opportunity that affords us. And
there you are. You're on the screen.
Yeah, we need to also teach people that there is power in PR. It's not a secondary thought; it's a necessary thought to know to brand yourself. You can't be big without some way to brand. And if you do that self-managed branding, you end up with phenomenal issues like currently with people losing their sneaker contracts and all that other stuff. So you have to have PR people involved.
Yes, PR, and they need so many PR people right now. And you're absolutely right. My television career has not been enough because I got into PR.
Right.
And I think I called you about some of this because, I didn't know how to make the transition. I'm not sure I made the transition very well, but now all of a sudden, my latest adventure, you want to know what I have learned lately?
What's that?
Boxing.
Boxing, yeah, I love that. Man.
Yeah, Mayweather builds a gym here in Cedar Hill, and people that watch my show said he's coming. Can you do this and can you do that? And I know you got to come to the next boxing match. You've been busy, you've been gone, but there's no excuse.
Yeah, I was at the last one, but it's pretty good. I can't wait to show up. Yeah, we were there when you were the very first one you did. I think it was at
the factory, the Bomb Factory.
Yeah, downtown.
They're all downtown, but the gym itself is actually in Cedar Hill, one of our other suburban prosperous cities. But the boards, how did you manage all of this? I just asked the pastor, how did she manage? How did you're not married, right?
Not now.
But I have to bring that up. I have to bring because let me tell you what happens. People would come and say, send me an email. I'm very accessible to my audiences because I've been around for so long, but they'll call and says, well, Esther, that guy you had on, is he married?
Oh, wow. Well.
But Cheryl Smith says you have several wives.
Oh, yes. I have 21 community wives. And your wife number 2, you know that, right? So.
Now, what that means is that whenever he needs something done, he calls all of us and we have duties. That's basically
right.
What it is.
You have marching orders. But, if it wasn't for the women in the village wouldn't survive. So I surround myself with fantastic brothers who get a lot of stuff done. And we create understandings and covenants that we're supposed to be for the benefit of each other. And we can't do it if women weren't around us to make decisions for us.
So now what do you want me to do at the PR thing? The national PR meeting is here. I did come to the first meeting, you and hello, Ken Carter. I have to say hello to you. I did come to that first meeting.
Yeah, that's a great, the Black Public Relations Society headed by Neil Foote, who's also living here in Dallas. And we're with a local chapter. So we're working on building an engagement, having us to be engaged with the larger PR firms to come up with equity-based partnerships. A lot of things that they need, especially with urban marketing in the new world we're in, there needs to have a cultural understanding. There needs to be a level of cultural competence. You got to have some what we call skin in the game.
Yes, you do.
Right. And so if a larger corporation has a mainstream advertising agency and all of a sudden they want to tap into ethnic markets or cultural markets, they got to come to us because we have skin in the game and we know how to match that. Because right now, I think everybody's going to benefit if they are a social enterprise. If you're not helping the community or the world, no one wants your product anyway. So we've got to be able to. But you had a nice crowd
at the first meeting.
Oh, it's a great first lunch.
And you're working with Chocolate Secrets?
Yes, we brought NBPRS brought in one of the iconic celebrity photographers, Carol Augustus, and he had taken
Is that him?
images. Yes, he had taken images of white Hollywood and turned it black. And if you
White
look on,
Hollywood.
if you look on the cover of his book, that's a
there
iconic
it is.
picture of Audrey Hepburn, but he put a black woman there. Cleopatra was traditionally known as being Elizabeth Taylor. He put Vanessa Williams in there. And throughout his book, you saw all the great things. But that's one of the ways that MBPRS Dallas is trying to flip the script and see some equity out there and let us see ourselves as successful as we are.
Can we still order this book? It says pre-order your book, and it has on the Pan-African
Pan-African bookstore, Pan-African Connection bookstore has kept all of the books, and he signed a few, so sitting there wait for people to pick them up. But it's a great holiday gift. It's a great conversation starter for your home or your office. And we're also going to be working on getting Black art into corporate offices so that people can see Black
art into corporate offices.
Yes, as a showcase and purchase. Not only is it hanging in the hall, in the lobby, but you can also buy it. So we're working on that now.
I'm going through all of the stuff that's on the table right now. We need to talk quickly about the Kaufman development. You called me and left me a message.
And thank you for sending out those reporters to Dr. David Willis.
I sent out photographers.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, one guy was coming into Kaufman at the same time I was. And he says, "Are you Terry?" I said, "Yeah, Esther said I had to be here." I said, "Okay."
Because I understand, I looked it up just briefly. Oh, there it is. It's on your screen right now. Tell us about this. What is this?
I tell you what, I'm going to let Dr. Davis and Dr. Willis, Dr. David Willis, and Tammy Pierce come tell you all about that development. But it's going to be a super sports complex there. And what's really great about this development is that it has diversity written all throughout it. And for Dr. Willis and his team of great people, and they're all over the place in terms of culture and race. And for the city of Kaufman to open the door and say, "Come on."
Kaufman, Texas. Now we just talked about Haslett. Where is Kaufman?
Kaufman is what they like to tell us that Dallas is a suburb of Kaufman. Okay,
that's funny.
It's just south off 175.
I see it on the freeway on 45, but I thought it was all farmland.
Oh, this is going to be a sports complex, bowling alley, residential. It's going to be an amazing piece, and I want you to have Dr. Willis on the show to talk about that.
I will call Dr. Willis and have him on the show. And Terry Allen, you're just phenomenal. I'll take this opportunity to.
I can't see that.
Friends, is there Harris with Mr. on this paper? Is there a lady with him? Harris?
She's here.
Mm.
Fran Harris, I think that what I'll do is I am just part of the PR team for him. I want him to come back and tell you the vast number of people and partners he brought to the table. The people that have invented several pieces of this complex, this 164,000 square foot facility, are all over the place. We just had a reception celebrating and a groundbreaking, and I was amazed that if you talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, everybody was there. There was not a race, color, a creed, a gender, or a economic status that wasn't in the room. So I'm going to save that so that your listeners can have something to anticipate when Dr. Willis comes aboard.
They've got to all come on the Esther Davis show. They've got to talk about their journey because Texas is big. Texas is big, and now everybody's coming to Texas. So I'm a native Texan. I've never wanted to leave. I never took an opportunity to leave Texas because I love the space.
Well, the good thing about Texas, Dallas, is that we're only 2 hours away from the rest of the world, so you don't have to leave. You just have to land.
And pretty soon we can get on the high-speed rail and run down to Houston
and back
if we want to. He is Terry Allen. Early voting has already started. You've got to vote. That is your voice from we the people on who we want. Do not pay any attention to the polls. Dismiss the polls. They are often wrong in their assessment of what the people think, because I have not ever been polled. I would say that publicly. It's one of my hot buttons. I have not gotten called in my home. So everybody is not being polled. The polls are wrong. And what we want you to do is go and vote. Take your friends with you. And what it's Terry's talking about, give me 5.
Give me 5. Take 5 with you. Don't vote by yourself. Go with someone. And you see all how early voting ends in a few days in the big election day. Let's celebrate the fact that we had a power to vote, that we had a freedom to vote. No one can refuse your vote. And if you are engaged, Google Y Block, which is an organization that tells you how to protect the black ballot. You are entitled to vote. If you show up in line before the polls close, you still can vote. And you also
as long
have
as
to
you're
have
in the building, right?
right. And you have to, if you don't have your current documents, make sure you have other documents that prove you are. That could be a bank statement, a personal check, a government check. It could be all kinds of your lease, anything that has your address and you on it. So don't let anybody block you from voting,
Yes.
because we have so much restrictions it takes it. And that's why we need to vote, to change those restrictions, get back to normal.
I'm Esther Davis, better known as the Civil Fox. I'll take that name. But in the meantime, in the meantime, let's just be good to each other. Thank you, Terry Allen. You are just a jewel. Thank you for your friendship.
I've enjoyed it. Big Mama's going to be very proud of
Big
you.
Mama.
Sure.
I had a big mama. Ooh,
Yeah, Big Mama's at the column of Texas Metro News.
really?